Hello everyone, welcome to our series on environment and our story. Today is about the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. But before we dive deeper, let me discuss about the mode of nutrition of fungi, which I was about to discuss yesterday, but I could not discuss because of lack of time. So, when you say mode of nutrition of fungi, mode of nutrition of fungi, heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means can't produce their own food, unlike autotrophs, as plants produce their own food through photosynthesis, right? So, but these fungi, they cannot produce their own food. So, within heterotrophic, we have saprophytic and we have parasitic. When you say saprophytic, get their nutrition from dead and decaying matter, decaying organic matter. The mushrooms that you see is one of the best example of saprophytes. Okay. Then parasitic means you live on or inside the host. At the cost of harming the host organism. Okay. Example include Armillaria. Actually, Armillaria, it is primarily parasitic but has saprophytic characteristics also. So, how it is called as parasitic in the sense root rot for trees. That means the tree is damaged, right? The tree is the host, and the tree is damaged because of the root rot. And then when we say saprophytic characteristics, it also gets its nutrition from dead trees also. The root rot of trees is with respect to the living trees. Host organism is a living organism. So, with regards to the World Network of Biosphere Reserves, so the UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, added 11, why it was in news I am just mentioning, added 11 new biosphere reserves from various countries like Colombia, etc. to the list of, to the World Network of Biosphere Reserves, to the Man and the Biosphere Reserve Program. So, biosphere reserves. What is a biosphere reserve? Biosphere reserves are diverse, natural, and cultural landscapes. The diverse natural landscapes spanning across, you can say, terrestrial, coastal, and marine ecosystems. They're called as learning spaces for sustainable development. By UNESCO. You can follow the principles of sustainable development, resource conservation, waste management, and climate resilience in case of biosphere reserves. Like basically biosphere reserves are categorized into, the biosphere reserve is basically divided into core area, buffer area and transition area. So within core area or core zone, you can say transition zone. A core zone, no human activity is allowed. When you say core area, it includes wildlife sanctuaries, it includes national parks, so the basic difference is like both of them are notified by the state government through a notification. But the thing is, the basic difference is in wildlife sanctuaries, livestock grazing and firewood collection is allowed. But that is not allowed in case of national park. And both of them are, both the wildlife sanctuaries and national parks are granted protection under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So no means no human activities allowed inside of a core area. But within buffer area, research, scientific research, education, recreation, okay, is allowed actually. Training is allowed. But why do we call them cultural landscapes? You will understand it when I discuss about the Nanda Devi Peak, which is a biosphere reserve, and it is recognized under the Man in the Biosphere program. And basically how it is recognized in the sense, the Indian National Man and Biosphere Committee, Man and Biosphere Committee, you can write it full form, Man and Biosphere Committee, under the Ministry of Environment and Forest, designates, or you can say it identifies certain potential sites. And these are based on certain criteria given by UNESCO. As there should be a minimum of core area, it should be minimum disturbance. In the sense, there should be no disturbance at all. Even if it is there, it should be extreme, it should be very low or minimum, you can say. And there should be viable population representing various all trophic levels, you can say. Okay, first you have the autotrophs, then herbivores which feed on these plants, then carnivores which feed on these herbivores, omnivores which feed on both. So basically they represent different trophic levels, right? So a viable population representing all trophic levels has to be there. And basically in addition to this certain other criteria, this criteria has been modified under the civil strategy, which I will discuss later if the need feels, if I feel the need. So within transition zone, again, certain activities as agriculture, then tourism, forestry is allowed. So ecologically sustainable human settlements are allowed. Ecologically sustainable human settlements, in the sense they have to be ecological sustainable, in the sense they need to use these principles of waste management has to be proper. They need to use reduce, reuse, recycle principles. sustainable transportation, in the sense using public transportation, walking or cycling instead of using their individual transportation as walking. You can mention also walking, cycling. You need to understand this term, right? Walking, cycling, then public transportation. At the same time, it is also based on the principle of climate resilience. I mean, you need to, that air quality, water quality has to be monitored in such a way that climate change mitigation happens, and when you do that, obviously when pollution is on decline, when greenhouse gases are on decline, so climate change, it plays a crucial role in climate change mitigation. When it happens, disasters reduce, so it is adapting itself to the environment, to the climate change, right, by using such practices which reduce the air pollution, which usually harm the environment, and thus using certain strategies to mitigate them, thus reducing the disasters. That means that environment is climate resilient. You're making it. At the same time, there has to be biodiversity protection, biodiversity conservation, you can say. You see, resource management. You see, for instance, when you do rainwater harvesting, you are doing resource management. That water is a resource. Rainwater harvesting. Is an example of this. You try to develop you do certain activities in such a way, like green spaces, and trying to reduce the pollution also helps in biodiversity conservation. Also, afforestation helps in biodiversity conservation, and all this. This is all about the transition zone. And when you say it's the aim of this is to establish aim of the Man Biosphere program is to establish a scientific basis to enhance the relationship between man and environment. You see, the relationship between, in order to, like, consider for instance in any relationship in general, to enhance positivity, there has to be certain understanding. So man has to understand between humans, you can say. So humans have to understand the environment, I mean the impact. It's like when you try to study a person, I mean you need to understand the impact of how you speak on them, like how they react when you speak in a particular way, all that. Okay, actually I'll try to explain that it is called as intergovernmental program. It is also called as a scientific program, and it is also established as a scientific basis. And why it is called as establishing a scientific basis, or why it is why it is called a scientific approach program, I'll discuss in detail in the next class. But for now, just understand that they are culturally diverse, naturally and culturally diverse landscapes, you can say. And naturally diverse landscapes. Okay, I have already mentioned it. I'm so sorry. Thought I did not mention. So I'll discuss it in detail in the next class only. Thank you. That's it for today. Stay tuned for more updates.